So in today's video, we're going to talk very much about my grip. I had a question the other day whether I'm still holding the golf club in a peculiar way. The answer is yes. I'm going to explain why I hold the golf club the way I do and what it is that you should be really trying to do with using the hands throughout the golf swing. Just before we get stuck into the video, if you're ever interested in working with me directly, you can do so by visiting the website russellheritagegolf.com. Signing up to either a monthly or a 6-month program will give you access to myself, swing reviews, potentially things like video calls depending on the program that you choose, but also there is a very simple 5-step process that I've put together which you also gain access to make sure that every time you practice you're doing the right things. Anyway, back to the video. Let's talk a little bit about the grip and what should happen. The things that I do which are very, very traditional is the lead hand sits in the fingers, heel pad sits on top, and then my right palm sits on top of my left thumb. What I choose to do slightly different is with the fingers. Let me explain first and foremost what it is that should happen. You see, when it comes to holding the golf club and sequencing the backswing, in the early part of the takeaway movement, you shouldn't be doing any lifting or really any excessive wrist movement. There is going to be a small degree of wrist hinge inside the takeaway, the movement I'm demonstrating here, but it's only a small horizontal movement of the back of the trail wrist, and that will sort of move the club about 6 inches. From here, there's an element of external rotation and then upper body rotation. The trick is what happens from here. Right now, as I want to sequence this further up, my right arm starts to bend. And what you'll notice is when your right arm starts to bend to help you lift the left arm up, you'll start to induce a natural degree of wrist cock. Meaning, if I now straighten my right arm, it gets rid of the wrist cock. As I bend my right arm, wrist cock is induced. So the point that I'm really trying to make is wrist cock doesn't need to be a conscious decision that's made within the wrists. Personally, what I used to find is when I used to grip the club in an interlocking fashion like so, I used to feel like there was an excessive amount of wrist cock created to the point where it created a cupping motion into my lead wrist. Once I switched to this grip, where I positioned my lead finger down the side, what I started to notice is that my lead wrist could stay a lot flatter and I didn't feel like I was doing any unnecessary wrist cock. And initially this was what happened through practicing pitching, but then what I started to notice is it worked for absolutely everything. It made me feel like my wrists were actually a lot more stable throughout the swing. It didn't do any detrimental impact towards distance. And the point that I'm really trying to make for you guys is I'm not saying you have to necessarily mimic this position, but the big no-no inside the backswing is you don't want to be thinking about cocking this right wrist. Let the wrists create that wrist cocking motion as your trail arm starts to bend. Hopefully that helps. We'll see you soon.